International firm headquartered in Spain, SCYTL, look it up, has been contracted by 7 states to provide online ballot delivery for overseas military and civilian voters for the upcoming presidential election. You may say, well, big deal. It's military and it's overseas, expat civilians. They'll swing the election. And according to the director of communications for SCYTL, the Spanish firm doing your vote counting, the company has been contracted by the following states: New York, Arkansas, Alabama, West Virginia, Alaska, Puerto Rico, and Mississippi. The ballots will be delivered via online PDF files by SCYTL, not by the company's U.S. subsidiary, SOE Software. What you don't know is that in January, how the Republicans let this happen. In January, SCYTL purchased SOE Software. They bought them, went overseas. What you also don't know, which you're going to learn today during the Savage Nation, is that their vote counting programs have been hacked by college students. So how secure is your vote, and does it really count? I don't know. Ask your elected officials. See what answer you get from them. Most of them don't even know who's counting the votes. And remember what I said at the beginning of the show. Those who cast the votes decide nothing. Those who count the votes decide everything. Joseph Stalin, the mad socialist butcher of the ex-Soviet Union, he killed 30 million of his own people through mass starvation and work camps. So you say, well, okay, you're just bashing socialists. Well, yes, I am just bashing socialists because we have an emerging socialist government here in the United States of America. And that's one of the reasons I get up in the morning, is to try to stop it, to derail it. Last night was a debacle. Romney had the election. He won it during the first debate. Candy Crawley stole it from him in the second debate. Yes, you heard me right. Candy Crawley stole it from him in the second debate. And last night, we saw another creepy crawly insect of the media world do it again, Bob Schiester. Bob Schiester asked loaded questions, and frankly, if Romney were a little more, how shall I say, tough, if he had the killer instinct, if he was hungrier, he could have taken Obama and wrapped him over his knee and spanked him. Because frankly, Obama looked like an angry adolescent. There were points during the debate last night that Obama looked very much like Biden, with the gaping look, with the fake angry look, with the staring you down look. And Romney looked like a theologian at an academic conference discussing things with a foreign professor. He didn't want to offend the foreign professor for fear he would be called a bad guy. I'll give you an example. Last night, Bob Schiester said, would you have taken out Mubarak to Romney? Romney fell right into the trap and said, no, I wouldn't. Wrong answer, Mitt. The right answer comes from Michael Savage. Here's the right answer, Mr. Romney. Bob, knowing what has happened since Mubarak has removed, I certainly wouldn't have removed him. But frankly, this is a stunning failure of Mr. Obama and his foreign policy team. This should have been predicted by Obama's team in advance of the Arab winter. Why? Well, Bob, the Muslim Brotherhood is well known to want to introduce Sharia law. The Muslim Brotherhood hates America, hates freedom, hates women. It's only Mr. Obama's inexperience in world affairs that has led to the debacle not only in Egypt, Bob, but throughout the Arab Crescent. That would have brought the House down. That would have put Obama on the ropes. The entire debate would have gone the other way. Instead, all we heard was, I agree with the president, which, by the way, was shocking. Even the moderator kept saying, Mr. Obama, and there's Romney sitting in deference saying, Mr. President, like Marilyn Monroe. Suddenly it's Marilyn Monroe in a suit, Mr. President. I'm surprised he didn't get up and sing in falsetto, Mr. President. But he didn't do that. And this is not a laughing matter. You see, many of you listening to the Savage Nation for the first time don't know what you're listening to, because you probably never heard anyone like me, but you will. You'll get used to me. Many of you are listening from stations around the country that have heard me before, and if you want to call us, the phone number is 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282, from anywhere in the United States of America. I'm going to welcome some of my old listeners, some of my new listeners. Here's what I want to tell you. You cannot be both a fiscal conservative and a social moderate. You see, many people confuse themselves. They say, well, I'm a social moderate, but I'm a fiscal conservative. What you don't understand is you can't be both. Why? Because social programs cost vast sums and bleed your fiscal conservatism of all practical meaning. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? If you're calling me from any of the great stations I'm on, and by the way, we broke 100 stations in 4 days, which may be a world record. This show has established over 100 affiliates in just 4 days, and I want to welcome all of them, and I will do it. I can't do it right now. If you're calling in from San Francisco on KSFO, if you're calling in from WFTL in Florida, my old listeners, I hope you're still awake out there. I know it's a little late for many people in the Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton area, in that the deli's closed already at 4 o'clock for the early bird. But I'd love to hear from you. Incidentally, Teddy is in the studio with me if you want to hear from Teddy. He is as excited as I am. He is the official mascot of the Savage Nation. Let's take our first caller, Tom in Florida. Welcome to the Savage Nation. Tom, what's on your mind?
Oh, Michael, this is Tom. I'm in Lecanto, Florida. I'm listening on the streaming internet. I'm hoping to get you on a direct station. I'm on the west coast of Florida, away from WFTL. But, Michael, God bless you, and congratulations on your return. I'm a long-time 12-year listener. I'm overjoyed, Michael.
Well, that's nice. I wish that you had called from a station, but that's good. Soon we'll get a station caller. Tampa, Alex, you're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Dr. Savage, how are you this evening?
I never answer that question. That's one thing you got to know. You know why I don't answer it. You don't know me. I don't know you. So don't ask me how I am. What's on your mind?
Just like the last caller, I just wanted to call in and welcome you back to the airways, and absolutely ecstatic that I'll be able to tune in each night and listen to the wisdom that you provide.
No, that's very beautiful. Now, have you've been listening for years? I take it. I can tell by your voice you're a long timer.
That's correct.
On which station?
I actually listen on the internet.
Another internet. Okay, well, whatever. That's a big deal right now. But we have 100 stations listening to this show. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do right now. I'm breaking rank. Whoever gets through this show from a radio station is going to get a free copy of my book, soon to be published, Train Tracks. And the reason I'm mentioning it 2 weeks ahead of publication is because it's the stories. People say, Savage, I kind of like you, but I don't like your politics, but I like you. I like your dog. I like your family stories. Well, I published a book of family stories, most of which you never heard on the radio. Anyone who gets through to the show tonight, and perhaps the rest of the week, is going to get a free copy of Train Tracks the minute it is published. But remember, let's not lose focus on the show itself. Here we have the most important election in American history. We have the most divisive president in American history, as well as perhaps the most devious and the most incompetent, all in one. And opposing him is a nice guy, a middle-of-the-road guy, Mitt Romney. I will vote for him. He's not as conservative as I would like, but I'll take what I can get. I had dinner with Mitt Romney long before he announced his candidacy. It was 2 years ago this December in a restaurant in San Francisco. He and I sat in a corner, looked out on the streets of North Beach, and we talked. And let me tell you something. Mitt Romney is a first-class guy, a nice man, very moderate. But what do you expect in the world in which we live, where you have so many people sold on handouts from the government? What's the difference, by the way, between Romney voters and Obama voters? You know the difference, don't you? Obama voters sign the check on the back, don't they? And Romney voters sign the check on the front. It's that simple. This is the Savage Nation. The phone number is 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. To all the callers around America, I'll be right back, right here on the Savage Nation. Call the Savage Nation.
Hot Talk 560 KSFO.
It is the Savage Nation. Welcome to KLIF Dallas, KSFO San Francisco, WJR Detroit, KVI Seattle, WFTL Fort Lauderdale, WNIS Norfolk, and all of the other 100 or so stations that have joined us on the Savage Nation. It may be a new show for you or an old show for you, but the fact is it's the same show for me, except it's different. It's new and it's the same. Bigger, stronger, better, frankly, beginning of a whole new world. But last night's debate, while it's a topic, is certainly not the only topic. I think I threw a bombshell out to you when I quoted Joseph Stalin in the last segment. Those who cast the votes decide nothing. That would be you and I. Those who count the votes decide everything, Joseph Stalin. Those of you who didn't learn this in college when you were busy learning how to put a condom on a cucumber, or that capitalism is terrible, America's no good, Ma and Pa are bad, and that everything against those things are great, you should have learned that Joseph Stalin, the granddaddy of socialism, killed 30 million of his own people. And he said those who count the votes decide everything. He was a very smart man. Well, who's counting your votes? Look it up. Do a search on it. It's in my book, Trickle Down Tyranny. SCYTL, an international firm, has been contracted by 7 states to provide so-called secure online ballot delivery for overseas military and civilian voters. In an election as close as this, they can turn the election any which way they want. How did they get to buy this company, this American company? By the way, just prior to the midterms, Washington, D.C. tested its own new electronic voting system and discovered it had been hacked. Did you hear that? The D.C. Board of Elections and Ethics reportedly encouraged outside parties to hack and find flaws in its new online balloting system. And then a group of University of Michigan students then hacked into the site and commanded it to play the school's fight song upon casting a vote. This is not the first time SCYTL systems have been called into question. I can give you more on this. I will give you more on it this week. I am telling you the system of vote counting in these states may be subject to attacks that could compromise the integrities of the vote cast. Okay? Now, let's go back to the debate since everyone wants to hear the same thing over and over again. The phone number here is 1-855-400-SAVAGE, 1-855-400-7282 from anywhere in the United States of America. Frankly, last night, at one point, Obama started to sound like an adolescent who lights his own methane to see the flame turn red. Romney looked like a theologian at a university tea having a gentlemanly debate with a foreign scholar. We need a little more vigorous defense of the American way and a little more vigorous attack upon Obama's. You know, there's a word for Obama, and it's not evil. I'll tell you what the word is. Do you know what the word is? Because I learned this when I read Plato's Republic. Plato's Republic, Aristotle, these old Greeks knew what was going on. They were around a long time before the economic debacle that we have today in Greece. They gave us fundamentally the bricks of Western civilization, and they wrote about men like him. Obama is a sophist. Sophistry, very important word. The word sophisticated comes from it, but it's not really related in the sense that Obama's not sophisticated. He's simply a sophist. A sophist is a man who is very skillful at speaking but saying nothing. You could call him, you can give it another name if you want, but Obama is a classic sophist. He engages in sophistry. And so that's the problem we have. We need someone who could have cut him down with his lies. Why do I say that? Do I have anything engaged in this election? Yeah, my entire future, my entire life. Other than that, I really don't care. Do you have anything engaged? Well, yeah, if you want higher taxes, you want more red tape, you want more of a business slowdown, you want more crackpot ivory tower things such as electric cars that nobody wants. Romney could have taken him to the cleaners by saying one thing. You know, Mr. President, you talk a lot about green energy, but why did you block the Keystone XL pipeline? Good, clean oil from Canada, no requirement for overseas shipping. They were begging us to take their oil. You killed it. And where's that oil going, Mr. Obama? Then you override Schieffer and you say it's going to China, Mr. Obama, out of the Vancouver port. Why did you do this to the American people? Gasoline's $5 a gallon. You call that a plan, Mr. Obama? I call that a disaster. Oh, come on. Well, no. See, the problem is, look, I understand something. The best people don't go into politics. I knew this in college. I had heard that. Doesn't mean that they're stupid. Don't get me wrong. But don't look up to them as your leaders. They're not your leaders. The best people are not in politics. The best people in this country are in business, science, you name the business, and they're in those fields. They're making discoveries. They're building businesses. They're not giving us double talk in order to get reelected. And so we have to take what we can get. And we don't have something that's very good right now. The economy's in shambles. The Middle East is in flames. The world is laughing at us. And Obama has the nerve to get up there and say, we're doing great, and give me another 4 years, I'll do even greater. No, it doesn't work that way. Let's take some callers on the Savage Nation. Chris, Redwood City calling out of the great KSFO. What's on your mind, Chris?
Mike, it is so great to hear you back on KSFO. Remember from Che to Chi?
Oh, you go back to the old days, huh?
Yeah, I'm calling both to welcome you and also remind you of two of my favorite moments. One, I was driving home from some seminar, and you were talking, bombs were raining on Kosovo, and you were just out, you just had the most amazing talk that night. And another,
yeah, because I'm the only one in the media who knows that Bill Clinton sided with the Islamists in destroying all the bridges over the Danube River and wrecking Serbia in order to steal Kosovo for the oil pipeline that was running through the Baltic Sea. It's a long story that I don't want to get into right now, but I remember that show and those shows quite well on the Savage Nation. The fact of the matter is, remember I was joking, I would say, welcome all of you loony Leninists, you mad-eyed Marxists, you Toyota Trotskyites. Welcome you eBay Engelists. Welcome you maudlin Maoists, you cheating Chays, you castrated Castroites. Welcome you sneering Stalinists to the new Savage Nation. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yeah.
So I take it you've been starved for a little savage talk, huh?
I feel like I just drank a rock star energy drink hearing your voice.
Well, Teddy just rang his bell. He rang the gong on that one. Stay on the line. We're going to get you a free copy of Train Tracks as soon as it's published. Family stories, more debate talk, more stealing the vote talk, more surprises. Right here, 1-855-400-7282. 1-855-400-SAVAGE. I'll be right back.
Savage.
Call the Savage. It's Michael Savage back across the country on 100 stations. Opening night. Opening night. It's like opening on Broadway. Tuesday. Tuesday it is. Spread the word on Facebook and Twitter. Here I am. We're talking about those who cast the votes decide nothing and those who count the votes decide everything. Do you know who's deciding your vote? Well, I doubt that you do. You'll be shocked to find out it isn't the little old lady in the white tennis sneakers that you think it is. If you're listening to us in Dallas on KLIF, WJR Detroit, KVI Seattle, FTL Fort Lauderdale, or any of the other 100 or so affiliates, you can call me at 1-800-400-7282. Special number, 855-400-SAVAGE. This is a caller-based radio show. Unlike some in the business, I actually like callers. Some don't, some do. I love callers, and so you're welcome on this program. In the past, when I had 8 to 10 million listeners, it was probably much higher. Of that 10 million, I estimated there were 20 or 30 women who listened to me because I never met the women who listened. So if you're a Savagette, you're going to get priority seating on the Savage Nation. If you're one of the 20 Savagettes across America, please be certain to call so people don't say it's just old white men who listen to this show. Now we have a montage of my good friend, I don't know what to call him, the deacon Romney. Would he be he's like a deacon. Romney's like a nice guy, like a deacon. He's like a theology professor at a university. Here is a montage of Professor Romney agreeing with President Obama in number 7.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for agreeing to moderate this debate this evening. Thank you to Lynn University for welcoming us here, and Mr. President, it's good to be with you again. And we're going to have to recognize that we have to do what the President's done. I congratulate him on taking out Osama bin Laden and going after the leadership in al-Qaeda. It's wonderful that Libya seems to be making some progress.
It is not making progress. They just killed our ambassador.
I agreed, I believe, that there should have been a status of forces agreement. There was an effort on the part of the President to have a status of forces agreement, and I concurred in that and said that we should have some number
See, again,
of
I concur in it.
That was something I concurred with. That was your posture. That was my posture as well. I felt the same.
Your posture is supine. Well, let me explain that to you. You're a nice guy. Well, right now your posture is supine, and that's not the posture you need.
Number one. And they do.
Yeah, all right. That's enough for now. Mr. President. Get out the Marilyn Monroe song, Mr. President. That's all we need. Atlanta, Brandon, you're on the Savage Nation. What's on your mind, Brandon?
Oh, well, first off, Dr. Savage, like your last call, or one of your last callers just said, you're like a jolt of energy to hear you back on the radio, Dr. Savage. I love it. You know, I'm waiting for to get a stream in Atlanta so I can listen to you regularly, so that way I don't have to hear the internet.
Okay, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Petro on KSFO, welcome to the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Petri, thanks for taking my call. Hey, listen, about the voting. So the voting, if it's rigged, if it's corrupt like it is, and those Spaniards are going to be counting our votes, you know, so obviously what good is my vote? Either way, but, you know, if I aim my vote...
First of all, I'll tell you why your vote counts, because according to my research, SCYTL, which is headquartered in Spain, does not have a contract with the state of California to do the vote counting. They've only been contracted by New York State, Arkansas, Alabama, West Virginia, Alaska, Puerto Rico, and Mississippi. And that's to count only the overseas ballots. and the military votes, which, of course, are very important. So I don't think California is as sold out as you may fear. Our problem here are the illegal aliens who have no right to vote, who are skewing every election, which is why we have a one-party state in California, why it's been run off the rails, why the state is broke. It's because they permitted illegal aliens to vote. Wouldn't you agree with me?
I 100% agree with you, and that infuriates me. It makes me want to...
Yeah, well, what did the men die? Let me ask you something. What is more sacred about this country, tell me, than the sacred right to a secret ballot? And if they can steal your vote by giving it to a non-citizen, what else is the establishment stealing from us?
Oh, man, I'm getting angry right now. See, my parents were immigrants.
Good, get angry, because it's the only thing that's going to change it. The fact of the matter is, illegal aliens have no right not only to be in the state, they have no right to be in the emergency room, but they have no right to be in the voting booth. And yet Obama got away with the stroke of a pen, granting amnesty to how many million illegal aliens? Remember the so-called dreamers? How come Romney didn't say, wait a minute, Mr. President, tens of millions of Americans died. Well, it wouldn't be tens of millions. Let's say countless Americans died that we might have a safe, secure voting system in America. Aren't you ashamed of yourself for granting amnesty to illegal aliens who are going to vote in this election? I think that's what he should have said. Again, he would have brought the House down. Don't you agree with me?
I do. And in this last debate, they didn't touch the subject of illegal aliens. But at least on the last one, they did scratch the surface, and I was at least praising that they dared speak the word illegal alien, and then Obama wanted to change it up with undocumented to make it...
Well, Obama won't use the word terrorist when it comes to the Fort Hood massacre, the worst massacre, I think, in American history since 9/11. He will not use the word terrorism with regard to Major Nidal Hassan, the Muslim major who screamed Allah Akbar as he shot and killed 13 and wounded 32 unarmed soldiers, including a pregnant soldier. They've buried that case. And why have they delayed that case over and over again before the election? So that Obama can get away with not calling him a terrorist and not reminding us that the military itself may be penetrated with spies. You know, turncoats, spies, whatever you want to call them. One of my favorite TV shows, and you'll find that you listen to The Savage Nation, is that I love certain television shows, and one of them is called Homeland. It's unbelievable. Probably the best thing I've seen. I like Boss with Kelsey Grammer. I was liking Boardwalk Empire. On and off. I didn't like the first year. Then it got better. Then it got worse. Last week was horrible. He kept waiting for something to happen. But this show, Homeland, is about a U.S. Marine, allegedly a U.S. Marine, who was held in captivity for 7 years in Beirut or Lebanon, somewhere in Lebanon. And then he's released, and he comes home as a hero. He gets elected to Congress, but he's really a fellow traveler with Al-Qaeda. He prays to Allah secretly in his garage. You know, he's married to a wife. Yeah, I have to say married to a wife in America. Sorry, that's not bad. Yes, he's married to a wife who's a woman. I have to add that now. Yes, he's married to a wife who's a woman, and he has 2 children, and they don't know he's secretly a Muslim, and he's secretly let us say, a terrorist. That's a congressman in that series called Homeland. And the woman in the CIA who finds out he's a double agent is told she's crazy by the CIA. They drive her nuts. They put her into electric shock therapy. She goes crazy. And, of course, she's proven right. The woman who plays that part is astounding. But when I watch Homeland, I say to myself, how much of that is going on right now in the Defense Department? How much of that is going on right now in the CIA? And would they have the guts to even call it out, even if they found a double agent? Now, why do I say a thing like that? You want to settle down and listen to me? Again, where was Romney in not bringing up Obama's massive failure with regard, Obama kept touting his bringing down Osama bin Laden. Okay, great deal. Glad he did it. Don't take it away from him. But how about the fact that somebody in the U.S. Air Force or the Defense Department itself delivered our most advanced drone to Iran, and they delivered it without a scratch. They hacked the computers, landed the drone in Iran. Remember that event? Well, you forgot it already. I don't forget anything that's important. I forget the trivial. I never forget the important. And Obama, again, should have been called on the carpet by Romney with a smile, Reagan-esque, should have said, Mr. Obama, I'm glad you brought down Osama bin Laden. We salute you for that. But why don't you explain to the American people who in the Defense Department permitted our most advanced drone to be hacked and taken down by Iran, who has now stolen our most advanced drone technology. Why was that not brought up? Does Romney even understand this? That's the question. Let's go to the callers. Again, you're listening to the one and only Savage Nation. The Savage Nation is here for you every night at this time on your local station, across America, around the country. The phone number is 1-855-400-SAVAGE. For those of you who are new to America, that's 1-855-400-7282. Let's go to Detroit on the powerhouse blowtorch. WJR, Brandon, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Good evening, Dr. Savage. It's great to hear you back on the air. I was just curious if you thought we still have time for an October surprise with there being only 2 weeks left before the election.
Now, you mean an October surprise by Mr. O, is that right?
Correct, sir.
Well, I think there have been hints that there will be one. No doubt there'll be some kind of... Look, what is Obama's chief calling card so far? What have we heard? Is it the economy? No. Is it Obamacare? No. So what has he got? He keeps trumpeting one thing. He brought down Osama bin Laden, so now he's the great military hero. He's the Napoleon of our time. He is the MacArthur of our time. I shall return. Okay, so what else is he going to play but the military card? And it looks to me, since America, U.S. and Israeli forces are involved in joint exercises as we speak, and we have 3 carrier groups in the area, and we have the best pilots in the world with over 100 fighter planes on each aircraft carrier, which is more than almost any air force in the world on each aircraft carrier. It seems to me that we might see a little activity against Iran. I mean, that is a possibility, isn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah, and let's say he does that. Do you think the average American cares more about that than about the price of gasoline and the fact that he may not have a job?
No, and with the...
No, you see, there's an interesting point. I frankly think that although these other issues are very important to me because I'm very interested in national security, the average American cares about taxation and jobs. That's what he cares about. And it goes back again to the Romans. What did the Roman historian Plato the Elder say? Plato the Elder, who wrote about Roman times in the history of Rome, wrote that the average Roman does not care about what the legions are doing in Germania or in any of the other foreign holdings or provinces of Rome. The average Roman, he said, cares about the pebble in the shoe. And it's just as true today as it was then. So what is the pebble in the shoe for the average American? The pebble in the shoe is the price of meat, which has gone up about 400%. The pebble in the shoe is the price of gasoline. The pebble in the shoe is the number of illegal aliens in this country illegally, wherever you turn. There are many pebbles in our shoe, and unfortunately, Romney may be wearing sneakers that are so well padded, he's never felt a pebble in his shoe. That could be the problem. It's that simple. And what's even simpler is the phone number here, 1-855-400-SAVAGE. I'm having a great time. It's a totally different experience for me. Teddy is sitting here under this. Those of you who are Teddy followers, he's probably the most popular dog in America next to Bo, the presidential dog. But since Teddy never met Bo, he's the most important dog in the Savage Nation. And he's right under my feet. If the engineer comes in to adjust dials, he bites the engineer's fingers. I'll be right back.
Savage.
Call the Savage